The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
All right, it's Friday, the 8th day of March, 2024. Welcome to Bermuda's Daily Talk Show. It's the Daily Hour, brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medicals, Lindos, and People's Pharmacy. I'm Jamal Hartman. She's Maya Palacio, and Teo Dill will be with us in a bit to bring you the latest in his news break, brought to you by People's Pharmacy. Hi, Andy. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday, Jamal.
How are you today?
Good.
And happy International Women's Day to you.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you, remember.
Well, I was on, well, I'm not going to tell you what I was on, but I was doing something this morning and I came across a picture of your mom sitting like you. And I was trying to, screenshot and then go and bring it up today. And, I'm just not quick like that between everything else I had to do. But I was like, man, ain't this so cool? Like the coolest thing. It reminded me of when children do school projects and on Black History. And they mimic, instead it was the mom being like the daughter, but that was pretty cool. Tell Mama Palacio.
I would. It was actually a surprise to me. I had no idea she was doing it. I knew it was World Book Day from the show, and then afterwards I looked at my phone, she sent me that picture, and I was just like, this is the funniest, cutest, most felt seen thing I've seen. So it was nice.
Folks, if you want to know what I'm talking about, you put it on your social media?
I put it on my Instagram story. It's definitely on my Twitter for life, so it's gonna stay there.
Okay, cool. So check it out, folks. Check it out. It was really cool. There's a lot going on today. International Women's Day. Maybe Teo's going to mention this, but I saw someone say the time doesn't change this weekend. It changes like the final weekend in March. I think they may be talking about the UK though, right? Like the time does change for us this weekend, correct?
I thought it did, but now you got me guessing. Hopefully Teo could confirm that.
Audience, help us out on that one. We're trying to figure out when it's, because at the end of the day, all we need to make sure is that we're up on time to do this show on time. No other reason the time matters to me. Yeah. I'm be honest. Let's be real, Maya. Time you be working regardless of the time. This show is the only thing we really have to do at a certain time, right? So
I would say, yeah, for the majority,
yeah, for sure. It's my niece's first birthday today. I didn't realize she is born on International Women's Day. Yeah, it's her first birthday today. So not that like she knows what's going on. It's like weird, like me saying happy birthday, Zayla. I mean, well, maybe you'll be on the internet and she'll go back years from now and say, oh, my uncle said happy birthday. But I mean, it means more to me than it does her saying happy birthday to her, right?
How old is she?
It's her first birthday.
Oh, first birthday. Oh, yeah. It means nothing to them.
Exactly.
If anything, it's like happy 1 year of being a mom or being a dad to the parents.
Taylor says she understands. Okay. Yeah. She's still at that age where she puts her nails in my face and grabs my beard. Like,
and they have the strongest grip. Yeah. Man, they have the strongest grip.
What's unique about my niece, though? She's the first baby I've ever come across who doesn't like holding people's fingers. Most babies will grab a finger and if you try to put your finger near her, she'll whack you away. Like she does not. And I'm like, man, maybe she
knows her boundaries.
Yeah, she's literally setting boundaries early on. I'm like, I thought it was just me. So I said something to my sister. She's like, no, she's like that. She don't like people touching her hands. I was like, okay, all right. Well,
I feel that.
No, Uncle can't get no additional love. I appreciate her setting those boundaries early on. Let people know you too close, bruh. Anyway, International Women's Day, and we're gonna have a conversation about that. We're gonna find out about the time change so that you all are with us at the right time when we come back on Monday. All right. Greetings, everyone. Thanks for making us part of your daily routine. A good one today as we discuss on this International Women's Day and Friday Fun Day. It's Friday Fun Day, brought to you by our friends at Mailboxes. Who are some of Bermuda's most influential women and why? Oh, this should be good. This should be. Maya didn't know. We switched the question, just no, I thought of it. So I'm interested to hear her off. Well, maybe her people anyway were women, but anyway. Yeah, we're gonna have that conversation. Who are some of Bermuda's most influential women and why? The daily players are things you should know. So Miss Competitive is here today, but we're gonna see who's gonna enter the draw with Charles, Zalika, Karen, and Hadaline. All right. And don't forget to subscribe on our website, thedailyhour.com. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. All right. So let's get right to it. So the question of the morning is, who are some of Bermuda's most influential women and why? Who are some of Bermuda's most influential women and why? But before we go there, this is a yes or no question. Simple yes or no. Audience, just yes or no. You're not going to be judged. Do you believe we celebrate and honor Bermudian women enough? Do you believe that we celebrate and honor Bermudian women enough? Yes or no? Just a simple yes or no. A simple YES or NO. No explanations. We'll get into that. Because you all like, you don't know about instructing time. Yes or no? Do we celebrate and honor Bermudian women enough? Why?
Man, if I have to think about it, then it's a no.
Yeah, I think the audience is going to be with you. Jackie Eve says no. NTS says no. I think the answer probably, if just given an answer without context, I think my answer probably would be no.
Can I? Okay, I would say something along the lines that I'm gonna say it anyway. It's on my head, so I'm gonna say it. But I feel like women definitely support women a lot, but really, ever do we see men support women a lot? So
in Bermuda,
yeah, in Bermuda, or celebrate. Women celebrate women a lot, but men celebrate women.
men don't celebrate men.
And that's another thing too. So I feel like it's very.
Yeah, I think men just don't celebrate, and honor people. And I think that's why, for an example, I was talking to someone yesterday and I said, when it comes to these Bermuda Olympians that we have on monthly, the idea is really to highlight, honor, and celebrate them, right? And you look back at Debbie Hunter-Jones and, the stuff that you put up during the show and the question that I asked based on the information you had, like, we haven't celebrated and honored this woman's accomplishments. There are people still throughout the United States who are responding to that post that you put up in shock and awe that they didn't know this, right?
Yeah. The other day, I think it was actually an HBCU historian and also TSU archivist as well, who was like sharing it and liking it and sending me messages. So I was like, oh.
Yeah, I would say, to your response, I would say, I don't think it's a thing of men not celebrating women. I think men just don't celebrate and honor a lot as a gender. And I don't think we celebrate ourselves, But again, audience, do you believe we celebrate and honor Bermudian women enough? Sanchez says, I disagree. Sanchez, I disagree with what? You can't just put I disagree in the comments. You've got to give context because obviously your comment's not coming across live, right? Are you talking about something we said 2 minutes ago or 2 seconds ago? I'm sorry.
She answered at the bottom there.
Oh, I think particularly in Bermuda, men do celebrate women. We don't give them a choice. No. Well, yeah, but no, I think in honesty, I remember my former lawyer in Bermuda. We were talking about like we have a tendency, if anything, to celebrate the wrong things if we do, and I can give some context to that. Like we just had this conversation yesterday regarding the Olympians, right? As far as always thinking the person has to be number one. Well, to be number one in the world, in the Olympic stuff like that, out of 6 billion plus people, that's a tough task. But we don't consider other things accomplishments until, well, 30, 40 years later, right? And so we celebrate people, if anything, years after they've accomplished whatever it is that they've accomplished. All right, let's get to today's question, though, folks. Who are some of Bermuda's most influential women, and why would you say they're influential? What I want to do is see if anybody can name people who, one, they're not politicians, and two, they're not athletes or entertainers.
Ooh.
Difficult. They're not politicians, and they're not athletes or entertainers, because those are the easy ones, right? Athlete, entertain. I'm not saying not to name them. Let me be clear. I'm not saying if you think some people who should be celebrated are politicians or athletes, entertainers. I'm simply saying, can we name some who aren't? All right. So what are your thoughts, audience? Who are some folks? We've got Suzanne Ingham says Flora Duffy, sports gold Olympian. So she's an influential woman. And she explained why. I don't think anyone would disagree with that. A gold medal, as we just mentioned, #1 in the world. Sancha Tai says, and here we go. This is a great one, actually. Kathy Duffy. She is a Black Bermudian woman who has broken so many glass ceilings in international business. She is celebrated in the IB space. And I remember she came on this show and I was in awe. But Kathy Duffy is a woman who, has been influential in a space that's still really dominated by white men, really, if we're honest. Sahima Chaudhry says, I think Nadine Henry is one of Bermuda's unsung heroes. She proudly and quietly carries her mother's torch through her community service and community organization. And her mom, I believe, is the late Dame Lois Brown Evans. Angeline Butler, another, says Kathy Duffy, international business. Nicole Hassel says, the late Martha Dismont. I admired her so much. Yeah, that's another one. And she has been honored more and more in her after her passing as well. Who do you think, audience? Who do you think? Who are some of Bermuda's most influential women, and why on this International Women's Day? And happy International Women's Day to those of you who recognize this day. But Maya, who are some people that come to mind for you?
Okay, so the first person that did come to mind for me, and it was a little bit cheating because you said trying to know politicians, but she was a politician in the past. But the Honorable Dr. Annalisa Butterfield is definitely someone on my list. I mean, she started so many community projects, whether it be the Carolina Center and just a lot of things that people just don't really know about behind the surfaces as well, and helped so many Bermudians like get educated and feel important and be important and be who they are. So I appreciate her so much. But one that did come to my mind that I talked about yesterday with my friends, I can't remember her last name, but Unsung, and she does the curation, and I believe she also just is like one of the chairmen or something at the BSOA, so in City Hall, the City of Hamilton Art. And I praise her a bit because like she really does bring in all the new artists, and she helps them all flourish and all grow and lets them put their artwork up there for them to have like their first start. And that, so she's normally that jumping board for a lot of creators, a lot of artists in Bermuda, to have them up at that museum. So she's done a lot of work up there. So
nice. And put their names out there, Maya. Let's put their names out there. We've got someone on Instagram. Amelia Pure Heart says Nellie Musson, Angela Berry, Bermudian writers, and also Cara and Carly Smith, filmmakers and writers. Maven26 says, my friend Jodie Covington, I celebrate her. Amelia Pureheart also goes on to say, Kim Dismont Robinson is a writer and director of Department of Culture, and also Nzinga Ming, director of BSOA, important launching pad for Bermudian artists, which Maya just said. Who else? Who are some, who are some of Bermuda's most influential women, and why? Like, come on, folks. We had nicknames. We had all the stuff. Think about it. I mean, I'm gonna say, my late mother. Without her, we wouldn't be here this morning doing this show. When I think about influential doesn't always mean loud or well known. It's about impact, right?
Yes.
And I hope that's what people, really think about. Like, who's made an impact? Who has silently helped? Influence doesn't mean always popular, but it can mean the work that person's done that we may not know about. Look at this one. Angeline Butler says, the late Kathy Ann White, first Bermudian Black doctor of pharmacy. Didn't know that. See,
Yeah, teach me something new
on Friday, Sunday, don't we?
Yes, I want to learn something new.
Yeah. Another one, Teo Nzinga Ming. And am I pronouncing it right? Nzinga Ming. And
It's
yeah.
and singer.
All right. But this is a name that I did not know before today, and 3 people have mentioned it, right? These are people who we need to celebrate. I'm going to say just Donna Pearman, the founder of People's Pharmacy. I think she has been a very influential Bermudian, a Black woman with her father, right, who started a booming pharmacy. Now it's expanded, and they have the toy store, and they also have the spot at the hospital. So Donna Pearman would be a very influential Bermudian woman, provided hundreds of jobs over the years since they've been in existence. Let's go back to the comments. Anthony Pete says, Dr. Aisha Peets Talbot, medical doctor at Ocean Rock, a mom, an amazing practitioner. We've got Charles H. Jeffers II. He says, recent TDH guest, Lisa Reed of the HRC, Human Rights Commission. She has overcome adversity to raise a family and fight for the rights of others. There you go. There you go. Manuela John says, Florence Maxwell. She was my brown owl. She is a prominent Bermudian female leader and part of our history. So Florence Maxwell, that name is very popular, rings a bell. We've got Teo Dill says, Dr. Merle Brock Swan Williams, founder of the Adult Education School. Aunt Merle understood that education is a fundamental human right and lived that value more fully than almost anyone at that time. I'm having fun this morning, folks, because I'm learning some things. Are there any names that you were unfamiliar with, Maya? Because I'm going to be honest, quite a few.
Yeah, for me, definitely the one that Teo actually just mentioned, because I don't know the names of the people that have started up these things and been the first. I mean, it's hard to remember, right? And it's also important to just I'm kind of glad that I don't know these things, because it really tells me just how much I learned over the years. So I like to gauge it, and it's nice to read these names and to know them.
Indeed. And audience, do us a favor. Please do us a favor. If you can make sure you like and love and share this post with your friends, your family, your colleagues, that would be so helpful, because to me, again, last week it was just as fun, but this is history. This is our history to celebrate and honor. We're learning some things today. I'm not saying this is the show where you're going to get every piece of information that's going to help your life better, but I'm telling you, it cannot hinder our ability to learn when we're sharing these kind of things. I didn't know a lot of this stuff. So let's carry these conversations, not just through our schools and the classrooms, but through our workspaces, right? Again, who are some of Bermuda's most influential women and why? We've got Sancha Tai. She says, Kadis Emery. Her business focuses on the development of Bermudian hairstylists. She focuses on the whole person and the career paths. She is amazing. She has been on this show before. What I do like is that many of these people have been on this show before, and she is an amazing, if you don't follow Salon Pink, I believe is the Instagram handle, check her out. It's a really cool concept for Bermuda that she does. Anthony Pete says, Dory Trott, my P3 teacher at Elliott Primary. She reached boys especially made you feel amazing as a student. We've got another one. Angela Cellini says, Florence Maxwell, former librarian, author, and member of the Progressive Group. Suzanne Ingham says, Dr. Julie Brewer, who has impacted many, many children at the Reading Clinic, along with the other wonderful women there that help the kids with reading and math. Angeline Butler, there you go. Debbie Jones-Hunter, Candy Ford made their mark at the Carifta Games in the 70s, winning medals. There you go. There you go. Some unsung heroes right there, Maya, right?
Yeah. I love reading this. Thank you, everyone, for honestly doing this. It's actually been I love this. I love this.
Yeah. I don't want people to think I'm being all sappy, but I'm going to honor the women involved in this show. As I put something up last week on Twitter with MP Chris Famous. There would be no Sherry on the show, and then Sherry, Sancha, and then Sancha, Maya, and here we are. So I think it's only right that we help you guys understand your influence, right? I think Sherry Sanchez is an entrepreneur in her own right. Sherry has her podcast, and she's done other things in the social work field. And then, of course, you're out here changing people's lives with information on a daily basis. So I don't want you guys to, not value what you bring as well. Sandra, what she said about Ms. Cadiz Emery does now, a lot of stuff like that could be said about her, about how she's also helped people over the years with her businesses and the like. So honoring them. Also, the women that are behind the scenes with this show, I don't know if they really allow me to say their names publicly, but they have been influential without putting their names out there, right? They've helped and kept the ship steady and guided us to a space of success as well. So it's a lot of people that make things work in Bermuda in such a small community. But again, audience, back to you. Who are some of Bermuda's most influential women and why? Who are some of Bermuda's most influential women and why? We've got Charles H. Jeffs II. He says, I agree, Teo. Merle Brock Swan Williams would be a great TDH guest. She has helped so many, including me. We've got Teo Dill says, Dr. Barbara Ball, one of the strongest labor movement members of all time. To read her story, and I always heard Dr. King. Let's use Dr. King. Dr. King could have moved north and had a great career, but stayed down south and helped lead the civil rights movement. Dr. Barbara Ball was a white doctor. She gave up wealth to fight against injustice. And I don't think people understand. I mean, if you read about her, the mentality you have to have at that time as well as a white woman, man, she was heroic. Is she celebrated? Do you know about Dr. Barbara Ball, Maya?
I knew her name and a little bit of a story, but you told me more just now.
Oh, she was a force. I had the privilege of meeting her in her later years. And I don't think that, I would have loved to have spoken with her, but I don't think she was at that space where she could have those conversations. But she would be at the Bermuda Industrial Union. That's where I worked at the time with Inter-Island Communications. So, but yes, thank you for that, Taylor. We have a lot of contributions this morning, a lot of contributions, and I want to come back. So, folks, we will get back to the comments. But we do have to bring Teo Dill in. No, we're not honoring him for International Women's Day. He has the news to do, folks. Come on, T. Let's bring him in before you all get me in trouble. All right. But stick with us. We're going to keep this conversation going. This is helpful. We're rocking. We're rolling.
Hey, morning, everybody. Very, very good to see you, Jay and Maya and audience. Super happy to add my contributions to today's list. The first one, Jay, I'm following your footsteps. My mama, Joanne Dill, the former principal of Port Royal, Heron Bay, longtime veteran teacher. And she's one of them teachers. And when I say what I mean when I say one of them teachers, you're going to understand. You know how you got some teachers in your life where they could have had you in P2 and it's 30 years later and they don't just remember your name. They remember everything about you at the time. Like that's my mama with every single student that she's taught. Like some people are built to be teachers and she is one of them.
See, you made me feel better just now about that because I only thought that my teachers remembered me because of my behavior. But see, no, it wasn't that. Some teachers are just very good, like your mom.
Yeah, or a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. You know what I mean? And then the other one. Now, this is entirely selfish and self-serving, but I don't care. My wife, Wendy Dill, she is the mother to my children, and she's amazing. So I'm deeply grateful.
Is getting off the couch tonight, folks. Getting off the couch. I appreciate this conversation so much, too. And again, I don't know. I know you were one of the things that stand out to for me with you as it relates to International Women's Day. As many people won't remember this, but it was, I believe, in 2007, if I'm not mistaken, 2007. And It was a week before her 80th birthday.
Mm-hmm.
And you actually were the final person a week before her birthday, if I'm not mistaken with my timelines. You had a live conversation.
No, it wasn't live.
Sorry.
We did it.
Thank you.
We recorded it because it honestly, if it was live, it would have sort of blown out the programming for the entire day. We talked for about 3 hours with Dame Lois Brown Evans.
I remember she came around, but it was Dame Lois Brown Evans who came around the studio, and Teo had a very long conversation with her. And no one knew she was going to pass a week later, right? But that conversation, and I could be wrong in saying what I'm about to say, was probably one of the most influential and powerful at that time with an election that was called that year. It was, her journey. I mean, you just don't get. We're talking about the first woman to do so many things. If you look her up, Dame Lois Brown Evans was the first woman in the Commonwealth to be. What was it? Hold on, I had the list. Hold on, folks. Don't bear with me. Bear with me, because this is important. This is important. She had a lot of firsts. All right, here we are. I'm just gonna go from the Bermuda. She was the Bermuda's first female lawyer, right? She was the and I did say stay away from politics, but her first are just too important. She was the first female opposition leader, right? She was also Bermuda's first female attorney general.
Yes.
Yeah. She was first Black female parliamentarian.
Yep.
Didn't know that. Yeah.
You get the point? So my point is that conversation, Maya, and again, I don't think people understood at the time when Teo spent hours and hours and hours talking to this woman, this powerhouse, this lady who, did so much for the country, not just Black people or women, what that conversation would go on to be. So my only question to Teo before we move on is, where's that conversation today?
Well, as you know, I left Inter Island Communications years ago, and no beef, no static, anything like that. I love Glenn, I love Scott, they're my peoples. But I left it on the computer, in the production computer. Remember, in the little studio that used to be just for production is now for magic. Yeah. It's right there on that machine, because the station it was recorded at the station. It belongs to the station, so that's where I left it.
I really hope that I'll reach out to Glenn if he can share that with Bermuda, because I remember one year, Dr. King's birthday, I said, Tate, play Dr. King's I Have a Dream speech. Remember you played it that year? It was one. To me, that conversation is as important to Bermudians as that speech was to Americans.
Yeah, no, parts of it. The thing that whenever I think of Dame Lois, what immediately pops to my mind, she was genuinely free. I don't just mean like unshackled. I mean, she was a free person in her thinking, in her feeling, in her believing. She was unburdened by empire in a way that, particularly for a Bermudian person, is really, really something. And the fact that she was free back when it made a whole lot more sense to be unfree is incredibly instructive.
Indeed. All right, let's get to the news break, because
no, run a little late today, but I try and get, because I have an explainer for regional trade blocks like CARICOM. So because I got a whole bunch of conversations after the show on Wednesday, so I wanted to try and fill in some understanding gaps for folks. But to start with, a $50 million government guarantee is behind a newly announced MOU between local lenders and the state to help make it easier for people to get their own home. This from Premier David Burt during a press briefing yesterday afternoon.
The government will provide an aggregate $50 million government guarantee to support approved residential scheme opportunities within the economic empowerment zones. In return for the reduced risk, participating banks, which include HSBC Bermuda, Clarion Bank, and the Bermuda Commercial Bank have committed to offer a preferred interest rate to eligible applicants.
Now, that on its face sounds like a good look. Anything that makes it easier for people to acquire assets like a home is, just a good idea. And the fact that the Bermuda Bankers Association has co-signed it completely is significant. Hopefully, there aren't any hiccups in the delivery of this particular scheme. You got any thoughts, Jay, Maya?
The way this government throws around government guarantees, I'm just like, oh my. I guess the cause is decent, but maybe I just didn't understand how finances work. I'm sorry.
I know that they're doing a lot to try to help Bermudians access homes right now. Because I remember reporting on another plan that they have with banks to like reduce for first year homeowners and stuff like that. So I would love to look at these two side by side to just see which one out benefits the other, or how they kind of conjoin and work together still. If there's a lot of deals going on, it feels like a lot at one time. But I'd love to.
Yeah. Okay. Well, what I can do, Maya, is try and do that comparison over the weekend. So next week, we'll maybe be able to fill in those gaps. Now, in less inspiring news, we had another day and another road collision. Yesterday morning's incident took place on Collectors Hill and Smiths. It was a single vehicle collision, which led to a temporary diversion of traffic at the junctions with Hermitage Road and South Road. No word yet on whether any serious injuries were sustained by the involved driver. Now, this brings to mind the recent Bermuda Road Safety Council release on the necessity of safe driving, particularly avoiding tailgating. We all know this. It is simply true. Bermudians drive way, way, way too close together for some reason. Don't really get it. It's baked into the driving culture. Well, the BRSC underlined that the correct following distance is 3 seconds in good driving conditions and 5 in bad. This video summarizes what that looks like.
You a failgater? That's what we call drivers who follow too closely. If you're inside this zone, you're failgating. To avoid the failgating zone, ease up and follow the 3-second rule. Pick a landmark, wait until the back of the car in front of you passes it, then count 1001, 1002, 1003. If you pass the landmark in less than 3 seconds, you're failgating. Nothing good ever happens when you follow too closely.
Now, I'm just going to say this. My wife has moved here from the U.S. About 5 years ago now. Been driving for almost all of that time. She has been frustrated for that entire period because of our culture of tailgating. Like, have y'all noticed that?
Yes. I hate it so much. I remember one time, I was on my bike and I was just easing up, and someone was a car was literally on my bumper, of my bike, whatever. And I literally looked back then I'm sorry, do you want to date me or something? Get away from me. I was so irritated. And I just pulled over. And I was like, just go, because I hate that. I really do. It's very frustrating.
I have a tendency to, even in the US, when people are doing it, just kind of pull over or whatnot, because I really think it's the most uncomfortable thing. Now, that said, the excuse people have is Bermuda's roads are so small. You're just not going to have that space. But I did learn that the other day, because Maya said, that 3-second rule. I thought it was 2 car distances. That video makes it look like 3 car lengths, right?
Yeah.
But I think it is a problem. It's as big a problem as what they call the third laners thing. My hope is that people are more conscious of it and understand that if someone stops short, at least you're going to be good. You will be cool. Because people believe in the court of law, I could be wrong, but if you hit somebody from behind, it's on you.
Well, yeah. Obviously, it's the strangest thing. People, I feel like it speaks to a profound loneliness in the heart of most Bermudian drivers. They can't stand to be that distant from one another. I think what it really means is that we need to have more ride sharing type things where people get together in groups in their neighborhoods and ride into town together for their commute, because apparently they want to be next to one another. So let's just do it in a more safe and sensible fashion.
We have the worst driving habits, and then we're not even a walkable city for how small we are. It's so much frustration. It's everyone needs to have a vehicle, which is upsetting. A lot of people just walk if there was more sidewalks, but
But
yeah,
the
our roads are too narrow.
American way, though, really, like the American way, they created this everyone have a vehicle because the Ford company, they wanted to make profits, they wanted to sell vehicles. Whereas if you look at places in Europe, they always pushed for public transportation. I think one of the
Canada out here.
only citizens that really maintained that was New York City. So I think Bermudians are caught up with that idea that we all need a car, we need this. Folks, Teo, we had this conversation on air many years ago, over 10 years ago, and I remember the woman who called up and disagreed with us. Teo was explaining back then, do you really need a car in Bermuda? And, she called up, and I remember who the individual was, but I'm going to say it, but she called up, my 3 children, I need to get them to where they, and you broke down, well, could they not utilize the bus? Well, I need to do my laundry. Well, your car pay, like you went into car payments and everything. We've made ourselves believe that putting ourselves in debt and having this nice fancy, what's the SUVs now, is a need versus a want. And despite all the information and questions Teo asked, he didn't help her. He agitated her, not on purpose, but because
it was a little on purpose. She was getting on my nerves too.
Yeah. I remember, and I love her. You know what I'm saying? And I hope she's not tuned in right now, but I just hope she understands differently now. I'm not trying to say she should think like us, but even with evidence, she didn't change her position. But the truth of the matter is, you don't necessarily need a car if you have a sustainable public transportation system.
There you go. That's the key. Now that I think it's reasonable to say that piece is missing. But
1000%.
if that's corrected, that solves so many problems, because all the potholes that people understandably fuss about all the time. A large reason for their presence is there's so much more traffic on our roads.
On the road.
Yeah, the wear and tear. It's just it's constant. Like it never ever stops. And it did not used to be this way. Like Maya, you're not your birthday is a little too recent to be able to fully appreciate this. And this is not a diss. This is really just underlining me and J.O. But when we were kids, the second-hand car market did not exist.
Right.
Like you couldn't buy a secondhand car. Like if you wanted a new car, you had to get yours cut in half and take it up to the airport to be disposed of, and then you could get a new one, which meant that the number of cars on the road was kept at a certain level. Now it was frustrating because people, it was that much harder to get a car, but everybody did fine. Like it was okay. I'm not saying there weren't inconveniences, but nobody died. Like it was all right. But since the second-hand car market was allowed to take shape, I don't think we're ever going back, even though I think that's honestly in the island's interest.
It's a mindset. I mean, the cultural mindset has shifted. It shifted from then. And again, you think about it. When we think about this show, we're having this conversation this morning about influential women, and we're now talking about the news, right? How many young people you think are tuned in right now? Most of them are on Twitter talking about where they're drinking this weekend. I'm not trying to be offensive, but that's just where their mind's at. They're not into thinking about what they can do to contribute to a better Bermuda. You just gave an example that most people aren't talking about because, I do it because I just don't like them, and it's the truth. But most people are just going to look towards the government and their life maintaining the roads. We're not going to take accountability and say, what are we doing that's impacting our roads? And again, at the end of the day, they're being used more. Have we had studies to say how much they should be used, how many cars should be on the roads, and so on? Chances are we haven't, and if we have, we've rejected it as a government and as a community, because that's just the way we are. We are instant gratification. We are a showy community, and unfortunately, it's not proven to be in our best interest. But I know you've got more news to do.
I do. Now, this is an interesting one. I don't know if either of you noticed that longtails have been showing up around the island earlier in the year, like as every year comes by. Well, you're not nuts, apparently. Our national bird does get to Bermuda sooner than it used to. And the reason, entirely predictably, is believed to be climate change. A team of researchers discovered that since the 1950s, the average date of the first longtail observation in Bermuda has advanced by 20 to 25 days, about 1 day earlier, roughly every 3 years. This means that 70 years ago, longtails arrived in mid-March, and today they're showing up in mid-February. Now, the researchers believe that climate change is the only factor that could have caused such a dramatic shift. So hopefully this does not affect like the longtails survival standards, because changing the times that they migrate has a whole bunch of different implications to the way that they live. And it would be a terrible shame that if they were the newest victims of the ongoing climate change travesty.
I wish the longtails were on national park, but they're actually not. It's the Kahal, which is weird. But I thought.
Forgive me. Yes, you're right. Thank you, Maya.
I remember because I really wish that it was at one point. I was like, I think it's the Kahal. But yeah, I love longtails. I feel like they're more Bermudian, but no offense to the Kahals. But yeah.
That's my favorite sentence of the day, or of the week. No offense to the Kahals. I did not expect to hear that today. Now, finally, the response to this week's CARICOM Freedom of Movement conversation generally came down to one question, which is to say, what is the upside to this type of regional bloc? Well, the best way to answer is to explain what orgs like CARICOM, NAFTA, the EU, etc. are. Now, basically, countries that are geographically close to one another typically trade with one another, buying fruit or meat or medicine or books from across the border rather than the other side of the world is just cheaper, faster, simpler, better. So countries that join together with a bunch of agreed rules to make trade more efficient, i.e. make it easier for everybody to make money, just makes sense. Mm-hmm. That's why Brexit, which is to say the UK leaving the EU, has led to a 5% decrease in the UK GDP, or £2,300 less in each British resident's pocket. Being out of the EU means it's harder and more expensive to buy and sell stuff, which means less jobs for lower pay for more people. Now, that does not mean that these blocks don't have downsides. Mm-hmm. These include the reduction of borders, which can increase risk.
Oh my God.
As in, if it's easier for people to travel between countries, it's easier for terrorists too. Plus, freedom of movement can put a heavy strain on individual countries' resources like housing, education, healthcare. The footage that you see right now is a line in the UK for a NHS dentist. All of these people are lined up just to go see the dentist because the system is swamped. Like, too many people need services that the resources don't exist for. Also, local governments can't act as fully in their individual interests without considering the bloc's interest. But membership in the bloc, especially for a small country like Bermuda, is one of the best ways to advocate on a regional level because you have a seat at the table with partners instead of trying to convince competitors to act in your interest from a disconnected distance. Now, broadly speaking, these blocs have been really beneficial to the global economy. But as ever with almost everything, the problem is that member states' governments have done a bad job at ensuring that the benefits of the trading blocs are equitably shared. Now, hopefully, we learn the lessons of what led to Brexit to help design a relationship with CARICOM that maxes out on the upsides and minimizes the downsides. But at bottom, the best argument for these type of relationships is that no country other than the UK has voluntarily left one of them, from the EU to CARICOM to BRICS to NAFTA, et cetera, et cetera.
So the UK is the only example we kind of have in terms of someone, leaving.
Yeah.
I think it's something to watch. I hope people are paying attention. It's something to watch. I mean, Charles makes a good point. Is Bermuda geographically close to the Caribbean? Like, when it comes to trade, are we going to have direct, routes to Bermuda from the Caribbean as far as keeping those costs low, or would it cost more? So there's still so many questions. What's the weather looking like, Tay?
The weekend's weather is pretty uncomplicated, mostly sunny skies, a little bit of rain at the start of Saturday and end of Sunday. The one interesting detail is that the temperatures are not going to crack the 70s over the weekend, so keep your hoodies nearby. You're probably going to need them.
All righty. Well, days of the year, we're going to continue the conversation. It is International Women's Day, as we are asking you to let us know who are some of Bermuda's most influential women and why. But it's also, you're going to like this, both of you. In the U.S., it's National Freelancers Day. Yeah, Freelancers Day. Yeah, Freelancers Day. And National Middle Name Pride Day. Pride. So middle name. Are you proud of your middle name?
I can't celebrate that day.
You don't like your middle name, Taylor?
No. What would Maya tell us for what was hard for you to fully appreciate your middle name? Like what got in the way?
It was just different. It was different than anyone else's. It's a very unique middle name. All my sisters and I have very unique middle name. The African names are given to us from our father. My one is Makuba, and it means to be reborn and renewed. My older sister, Farah, I hope they don't mind me saying it. Farah is Matanzas and Indigo. No, Farah, Indigo Matanzas Palacio. Farah, Maya Makuba Palacio.
Maya Makuba. All right, Makuba.
And oh my gosh, I'm sorry, Farah, I can't remember your middle name right now. It's escaped my mind.
Okay. Double M is not just for Media Maya. It's
Messiah. Sorry, Indigo's is Messiah.
All right. Double M makes sense now. It makes sense.
Yeah.
What's your middle name, Taylor?
Lamont.
You look like a Lamont. Yeah.
No, don't say that.
Audience, what's your middle names? Audience, let us know. We want to know your middle names. I'm not sharing mine.
You're one of them people. You're so weird. Like, oh, what's yours? What's yours? Oh, well, I'm not gonna tell you mine though.
I mean,
come on, bro.
My father, I guess he didn't win the argument with my mother to give me his, a junior name, so he gave me both of his names. So,
okay.
My middle name is I have two. They're the most European names, like Anthony. Like, I don't want to be named Anthony. No disrespect to my father, but it's so plain. Like, Makuba. I like something like I want something.
No, Makuba is fly.
It took me a minute though to appreciate because like everyone else in my school did not have a name like Makuba as a middle name, So it took me a minute to find that pride and that acceptance in it. I'm not gonna lie. Growing up, it's not easy to have that middle name.
Yeah. So no disrespect to Pops, but I wanted something a bit more that defined me.
A little more flavorful.
Yeah, you get me. We've got we've got a Conrad middle name. Mark Arthur. So that's what the C stands for. Mark Arthur Conrad Phillips. We've got Linnell, okay. We've got H. So Henry then. Henry. Okay.
Yeah. No, Horace. yeah.
Then we've got Charlene. You look like a Teo, not Lamont, says Suzanne Ingham. We've got
That's what it's weird because Teo is one of the odd. It's an odd look. It does not sound like a word. It sounds like an exclamation of pain. Like Teo, it's 3 consecutive vowels. Like, what kind of word is that? Yeah. But it suits me. I don't know how. I'm just that odd.
We've got Tarique. I like, okay. We've got Jamal. You look like a Jamal. I think she means look. My sister says you only said one of your middle names. Yeah, I did say one of my.
Well, where's the other one? Come on, bro.
Why you guys?
You gotta get back to talk about these influential women people.
My second middle name is Colvin. It's Colvin.
Colvin. Okay, that's different. That's more unique than Anthony.
What? This is what I'm telling you guys. I'm see you later.
No, you look like a Colvin though, for real. You should be J.A. Colvin Hartman. Like, you need to switch it up. All right, y'all. All right. I appreciate you guys. See you, JC. Bye.
Bye.
Folks, don't go anywhere. We'll come back. We're going to continue the conversation, extend it a bit. And we've got that giveaway coming up for you as well. Stick with us.
People's ACW, located at King Edward VII Memorial Hospital, carries over-the-counter medicines, toys, cards, and even toiletries. Our knowledgeable staff are there whether you're at emergency, visiting family, or a member of BHB staff, to show you our best even when you're feeling your worst. People's ACW, we're here for you.
Welcome to the new bulk store, Lindo's next. Anyplace else.
Take a look at our workwear for construction workers and tradesmen. Durable, stretchable in all the right places and plenty of options for tools and accessories. Paired with our wide range of tough and comfortable footwear, you can't go wrong. As you can see, Medical House really is a one-stop shop for everybody. We can't wait to see you.
See it all at our new expanded location on Bakery Lane.
Alrighty, welcome back to the big show. She's Maya Palacio. I'm Jamal Hartman. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House Windows, and People's Pharmacy. Don't forget, if you haven't already, subscribe on our website, thedailyhour.com. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Let's get back to Sancha Tai. She says, love my middle name. I was named after Tai
Babylonia.
Okay, the first Black Olympic figure skater to win in 1980 when I was born. All right, There you go. Oh, Ty is your middle name. Don't you know? I thought it was a thing, Sancho. I just thought it was a thing. Let's get back to the conversation, though, folks. We're going well. Who are some of Bermuda's most influential women and why? And we're going to go back, way back, because a lot of you had some really, really interesting people. We had Traveling Trotty says Power Girl. Talking about Patrina Painter. I would say Patrina has set the standard in the media space in terms of how to use a brand to help others, right? To help others in many ways as a mentor, how to help people find mentors. So I definitely agree with that. And I think she's, one who I think is appreciated in many spaces. Charles H. Jefferson II, is Dr. Ball a national hero? If not, she should be. I don't believe she is one of them. No. We did have someone on Instagram.
Yes, I have it here. Okay. So, and I thought about this person too, but Amelia Pure Earhart says historically, Sally Bassett, she was important to our cultural history, especially when looking at our enslaved past. She was instrumental with the poison plot. And also, again, Amelia Earhart says, you also can't talk about influential women without historically looking at Mary Prince, hugely important to the abolitionist movement and the first piece of Bermudian writing.
Two very important women that played a historical role in Bermuda. She also said another one.
Yeah, Dr. Dorita Green, first Black Bermudian woman president of Bermuda College. Rosalda Severin, music educator, brilliant academic singer, songwriter, all around wonderful human. More people are saying Florence Maxwell again, member of Progress. Yep. Merle Brock Swan, another one was mentioned there. Beyond her local and regional first, she personally impacted my life. And this is coming from Imo Latista on Instagram. Family fought for the rights of West Indian women suffering under domestic and economic abuse. So
all right. You guys have got them, and I'm just so happy that we have so many women that people know who have had an influence and an impact on the island that we love and call home. Renee Simmons says, Sister Winona Jennings, OBE, Bermuda missionary of Amy Church, who spent 35 years in Africa, built her own orphanage to take care of orphan babies and children. I did not know this. Did not know that.
Really doing the work.
Yeah. Charles H. Jefferson II says, Helene Stevenson. Yes, she was a great teacher, but she cared so much for all of her students and still does.
Teachers are exceedingly underappreciated, and I definitely want to give a shout out to all the teachers out there. Definitely. I mean, everyone knows Candace Darrow has been so influential in my life. And then I often forget to mention, but Catherine Gadet, she's a teacher as well for gym, but she is actually the only person that really brought me into playing field hockey when I was like 9 years old. She's the one who saw me come through at Harrington Sun and just kept me under her wing for years. So there really wouldn't be me playing field hockey without that woman who just continuously gave so much to me, took me to all the trainings, all the games, bought my first field hockey stick. So I really want to appreciate Catherine Cadet.
All right. It's Friday Fun Day, brought to you by our friends at Mailboxes. We're having a good one today as we all share who are some of the most influential Bermudian women and why. I said my mother again. Without my mother, my late mother, there would be no show like this, that we're having conversations like this morning. Mark Arthur C. Phillips, Mark Arthur Conrad Phillips now, I guess, says, my mother, Mrs. Rosemary Lane Phillips, she was mom and PE teacher to countless students at the Barclay Institute. She was extremely influential to hundreds of students over the years. Let's go. We've got people. Keep them coming. Keep them coming. We have Chica Reyna says, Tina Evans Keynes from media. Back in the day, so probably before your time, she was Lady T on the radio. Very popular. Lady T. I remember that.
I like that name.
Lady T. No, nobody remembers Lady T. But she was a big radio person, but she is now at CITV and is the daughter of the late Dame Lewis Brown Evans. Folks, if we can get Glenn Blakeney over at Inter Island to share that conversation Teo had with Dame Lewis Brown Evans in her own words a week before, I'm telling you, it was quite the conversation. And that was a very influential figure, a lot of first in her journey. Who else, folks? Who are some of Bermuda's most influential women and why?
I mean, we're talking about radio. Let's say Miss Thang, man. Miss Thang for sure.
Let's do it.
Influenced me. Definitely. I remember the first time I saw her.
I can't have bias, but definitely Miss Thang. A lot of young girls, that's who they loved listening to on the radio. They loved listening to a Miss Thang. Not saying that others didn't, but she was very influential in her afternoon drive. And let's not act like she still doesn't exist, because she's still currently on the radio in the morning as well. Who else? Yeah, let's think media. Janelle Ford, Ciola Wilson. These were very influential women in media when I was growing up. As a child, you just loved listening to them and watching them on the news, right? These were very influential people during that time.
Carla Zul.
Helene Swan, real quick, sorry. Helene Swan says, my mom, Queen Helene Stevenson, she is my be-all and end-all. So that's who Charles was talking about. See, look at that. We've got the connection. We've got the connection. All right. And we are proud of what your mom has contributed. Maya said Carla Zul. Yes, Carla has had quite a few entities today in Bermuda. She has been doing the media thing for quite a while and has a magazine, another person in media. Darlene Ming, another name in media. Lydia Simmons says, Darlene Ming, her voice was just, whew, I loved listening to her as well. Who else, audience? I know I said stay away from politics and sports, but I was challenging us to think beyond politics and sports.
Well, I'm surprised no one's mentioned about Dr. Kwika Weldon. Definitely.
No one has said.
So many firsts there, and still continuing to make a lot of firsts and things happen on the island. And she's so young, and she really came through for Bermuda during obviously the pandemic, but has really struck out and continued making a name for herself on this island. So definitely.
Anything on LinkedIn? Anything on Instagram, Maya? We've got Amber.co.uk says, my mom, Cheryl Ann Mapp, she was once queen of the courtroom. All right. Shout out to Mama Mapp. We've got Charles says, Charles II says, the many unsung women who gave up their education and career goals to stay home to raise their families. Without them, we may not have had many of the people we are naming. Indeed, Charles.
Cheers to that. Yes. Yep. And also want to spin to that, a lot of the women who had to become mothers on their own. So shout out to the single moms, like my mother, Gail Palacio, raising 3 girls on her own since I was like 5, maybe 4 years old, all of us. So bless your heart and thank you for everything that you sacrificed so I can be the woman that I am today. So
girls are so much harder than boys, Where are you? Ray Kai says, Tammy Ray, the only female boat pilot and one of the most influential boat pilots in Bermuda. Thank you for that, Ray Kai.
And one of the best goalkeepers in Bermuda for Phil Rocky. Okay. She was so wicked.
All right. Who else, audience? We're wrapping it up. Who else you got? Who are some of the most influential Bermudian women? And why? Why are they influential? We've gone through quite a list today. Kathy Duffy, Dr. Barbara Ball, Dr. Krieger Weldon, Power Girl, Carla Zul, Darlene Ming. We've had Florence Maxwell. We've had Martha
Bassett,
Nzinga Ming, Dr. Aisha Peets, Lisa Reed. We've had Kadis Emery, Dory Trott, who's an educator, Dr. Julie Brewer, Debbie Jones Hunter, Candy Ford. Keep them coming. Who else you got? We've got Amber.co.uk says my sister as well. Chelsea Mapp, content creator and entrepreneur. My inspiration always. We're the entrepreneurs. I'm going to say, I said Donna Pierman. I'm going to say Tamara Richardson, who is now currently overseeing CEO at People's Pharmacy, who continues the legacy of her mother and, employing people and building and expanding business over at People's Pharmacy. So Tamara Richardson definitely is one who stands out. Anyone else, audience? Anyone else? Well, you know what? Keep them coming. Anything on Instagram before we take our final break?
Well, Amelia Pureheart also says, my mother, grandmothers, wives, aunties, etc., who made Gombe capes, they are quite the tapestry to one of our oldest folk life practices, very unsung.
All righty. Thank you for that. And we're going to take a quick break and come back. We'll have the daily play. We'll have daily inspiration. We'll have a hashtag giveaway, and we'll have this week's giveaway. So who's going to be joining Charles, Zalika, Karen, and Hadeline. What else you got?
This one, obviously, Shiona. Shiona Tarini, someone also mentioned her, which is like a duh. But yeah, she has done so much and very influential. Especially so many people like leave Bermuda but do so much and keep Bermuda's name flourishing as well. So I really commend her for that and just amazing creative that she is.
Indeed. Yeah, Shiona. How could you guys forget? All right. Final break. Thanks. This is Fun Day Friday brought to you by Mailboxes. Stick with us. We'll be back after this short message.
In over 30 years, Mailboxes has brought in millions of packages. That's a lot of packages. We started way back in 1990.
Ship a boombox. Well, okay, sure, we can do that. Check you later.
And ever since, we've evolved with our clients' needs. You wanted packages super fast? No problem. We hired an overnight team to work, well, overnight. Every night. To sort, unpack, and process shipments. You wanted no sales tax? That's why we moved our warehouse from New Jersey to Delaware. And because no one likes paperwork, we do all that for you. Then, we created Dashboard, a seamless customer portal where you can upload invoices and track your packages. And today, we're evolving once again. To eliminate your wait time and to lower costs even further, we decided to start importing and stocking the most commonly ordered items. That's right, we now provide what you want without the wait. Using our international supply chain, our dedicated staff, and our long-standing relationship with customs, we give you instant access to your favorite items, direct from us, at amazing prices.
Amazing prices.
And we think that's pretty neat. Welcome to a whole new way of shopping. How's that? Is that good? Keeper?
All right, folks, if you appreciated today's conversation, please give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Another Friday Fun Day brought to you by our friends at Mailboxes. Thanks again to the partners, the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House Lindos, and People's Pharmacy for ensuring we can have these conversations with you on a regular basis. It is time for the Daily Play brought to you by Bermuda Trivia, now available at stores throughout Bermuda. Follow Bermuda Trivia on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok to find out why it's Bermuda's favorite trivia game. All right, it is a things you should know. Things you should know.
I always never know these.
No, I think this one's easy. We've probably even done it before. Okay. All right. How per our audience, first person gets it right, shows up on my screen. You got it. What ingredient do people with celiac disease have to avoid in their diet?
Celiac disease. Not sugar, right? It can't be sugar. Okay, no. Grains?
They all say it.
Oh, gluten.
Jonah got it first, actually.
Okay, Jonah.
Gluten. Jonah, congratulations. We got a lot of peanuts and wheat, but it is gluten. So
I wasn't trying to look.
This is the funniest one right here. Vodka.
Yeah, it's true though, right? Because it's made with a lot of potatoes.
Yeah. All right. So Jonah, let me write your name. And while Maya and I wrap up, give our final comments. Celiac disease. It's gluten. Maya. I mean, I'm not the smartest apple on the tree. I always say that, but I just remember like 10 years ago, everyone was saying, "Oh, can I get gluten free? Gluten free." I didn't know what that meant. Like, what is this gluten everyone's talking about? Like, I had no idea. It just came out. It was like the kale fad where everyone started eating kale. I'm just like,
avocado toast.
Okay, right, and avocado toast. I'm like, okay, what's this gluten? So yeah, that was something I learned. Folks, hashtag the Daily Hour to enter. We'll put one final name in. So hashtag the Daily Hour while I write Jonah's name down. And my final thoughts on the conversation about influential women trade. What are your thoughts?
Oh man, I love hearing it. And I love knowing who these women are and what they've done. I don't think we speak about it enough, truly. But again, that can be said about a lot of things in Bermuda. But very grateful for everyone who knew so much to share so much and continue sharing all these women's names throughout the day, throughout the month, year, whenever you can bring the names up in conversations, do that. So that's what I would say about today's conversation. I want to hear it all the time. So thank you.
Yeah, you know what I enjoyed? I enjoyed learning today, and even when it's real fun and crazy stuff, we're learning, right? But I loved how I wasn't trying to tell people not to say politicians. I mean, obviously, Dame Pamela Gordon and Dame Jennifer Smith and Paula Cox and many others, Ann Cartwright, many of them played instrumental roles and are very influential. I was just trying to get us to think deeper because we always put capes on the politicians and the athletes and the entertainers. And there's so many people. And that's why I'm glad so many people in the audience recognized the stay-at-home mom or their mom. Because in truth, some of the most influential people are sometimes those names most of us will never know. They play key roles. Again, hashtag the Daily Hour. If you'd like to go into today's draw, just hashtag the Daily Hour. I also want to say, so the time does change this weekend.
Yes.
Say this weekend. So you want to, you spring forward, right? Yeah. Spring forward. So you're going to go ahead out. That means that it's going to be light out.
Yep. Much
longer light. All right. So all you people that do crazy stuff in the earlier, stop it. Somebody will see you. It's going to be lighter. Again, my niece's first birthday, so I hope she has a great day. Not like she knows what's going on, but wishing her a happy birthday. And to all the women, I just don't want you to feel like you should only be celebrated today. Your existence, your contributions should be celebrated often. I always say I'm not a fan of Valentine's Day. To me, it's about ego. Your friend gets flowers, you want flowers, right? It's the flowers that are sent just because that we should be actually giving notice to or recognizing most. So I want people to understand that, when Maya or Sandra, any of them get all giddy when I give compliments. That's because I want to show appreciation on a regular basis, because I understand how hard people work. I understand how much people put into what they do. And I appreciate so many women who have contributed to what I do. At the end of the day, I have older sisters. The role that they've played, my mother and stepmother, and I can't leave out my stepmother, who has honestly been one of the most influential people, Janice Otterbridge, in terms of me taking the risk and becoming full-time with Bermuda Communications Group. She probably don't mind me saying this, but I'm gonna say it anyway. I'm gonna say it. She said, "You know what you need to do? What you waiting for?" What was that? And she's a quiet person if you know her, so I appreciate it. Let's do this giveaway, Maya. Let me actually share it so people will. I'm gonna get my little red cup here as well. All right. So, what did I do? Let's share.
What's your little hashtag thingy? There it is.
Hashtag Daily Hour. All right. So we're gonna put it up in between Maya and I. So let's do this. Let's hit it and see who's gonna be. Else is gonna be getting in the draw. Let's hit that drum roll. All right. Who else is gonna be going in the draw? What if someone that's already in there? Okay, Manuela John.
Manuela John.
Okay. All right. And Maya, you didn't get your gift from last week, huh?
I haven't got my gift yet, but
Yeah, you probably didn't send an email to engage@thedailyhour.com, did you, man?
No, I sent it to the wrong email because I'm not obedient.
Oh, okay. All right. So I think somebody in the audience was asking, did Maya get her prize?
I promise you, Susan, I'm gonna on Monday. I'm gonna be like, I got it.
Okay. I'm so ghetto. We gotta find another way. You see how I'm doing this, right? I'm just ripping paper and putting it in here. But folks, that's how you know it's real.
That's how you know it's real.
No, that's all you know is real. Okay, so let me just rip this.
Take your time.
6 names in the draw.
Oh, nice.
6 names in the draw. All right. Okay, so somebody's gonna get this week's prize. And when you win it, folks, please don't be like Maya. Send an email to engage@thedailyhour.com. And we will get you your winnings. All right. And no donating prizes to Maya this week. All right.
I appreciate this. My International Women's Day prize. No, see, I waited.
See, there you go. All right, let's go. All right. Who's it going to be? The last person in. The last person in. Oh, yeah, sorry. Manuela. Congratulations to Manuela John. You are this week's winner. So please send an email to engage@thedailyhour.com for your winnings. And folks, again, if you appreciate it, today is Fun Day Friday, brought to you by Mailboxes. Give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Maya, do you have any daily inspiration for us?
I do not have any daily inspiration for us today.
Oh, I have one.
Please let it be inspiration, not a joke, Jamal.
No.
Okay, good.
No, so look, I did something. I actually, with my joke book, I got 100 quotes book. So
okay.
This is helpful. But I'm going to look for one. And I'm trying to obviously find a woman, right? Because it's International Women's Day. But I can't seem to find a woman that's not Maya Angelou. And I gave Maya Angelou the other day. So I don't want to give Maya Angelou again. Why does this book not have enough women in her? That's a problem. Okay, Oprah Winfrey. Here we go. Here's your daily inspiration.
All right.
Surround yourself only with people who are going to lift you higher.
Straightforward. Honestly, we all could use that. And you know who else I didn't mention that's not on my mind just because of that quote, lift you higher? I gotta give props to my Aunt Dawn. She was hard on me growing up and she knows it, but we are very similar in mindsets, and I am so grateful for that woman because she's always been someone I can look at and be like, she's strong, she's capable, she perseveres more than anyone else I know. So thank you, Aunt Dawn, for being that light, honestly, that I can look up to.
And you've made me remember, I said my mama, but my nana, boy, the way she sacrificed too, as well as my aunt, right? So I think it's important to recognize the roles they play in all of us. But all that to say, folks, women, especially Black women, I think I speak for many when I say thank you. Thank you. Thank you for your contributions. Big, small, loud, and silent. Thank you. Folks, please don't forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Thanks again to our partners, BAC Group of Companies, Medical House Lindos, and People's Pharmacy for ensuring that we're able to do this with you on a daily basis. As always, we appreciate you, we love you, and we thank you for making us part of your daily routine. If all goes well, we'll be back to do this again with you on Monday. She's Maya Palacio. I am Jamel Hartman. Please do make it a safe and a great weekend. We is out. Peace.